here at a fall staff, enjoying the programming, looking forward to another amazing school year as an intervention specialist for the Open Choice program. I know the history of good work in the community and the significant role that CREC plays in the lives of thousands of children and families in the greater Hartford region and beyond. On August 23rd, 2012, I was just like many of you. I came back from off the incredible high of an amazing summer with my family. We had just moved back to Connecticut from Canada, and we were excited about starting a brand new school year at a brand new school. My children, Anna and Isaiah, were most excited about riding the bus and getting a real school lunch. Their school in Canada didn't have that, and that was the two things they were most looking forward to. We take this picture every year, and this was the photo we took last year at the beginning of the school year, on the first day of school. But now I'm not like many of you. I am in the unique, impossibly difficult, and indescribably heartbreaking fraternity of parents that have lost children in a school shooting. I lost my daughter, Anna Grace, 6 years old, on December 14th in the rampage enacted upon Sandy Hook Elementary School. My son physically survived, but he was in the building, and he heard the act that took his sister's life, and that of 19 other children. Today I stand before you as a former Creckie. I stand before you as the Mental Health and Relational Wellness Director for Sandy Hook Promise. I stand before you as the mother of two beautiful children, one that lives in heaven with Jesus, and one that lives on earth with me. On December 14th, while we waited in the firehouse to hear the official news that our daughter was dead, my husband and I made promises to ourselves, to each other, and to our son. And I'm here today to speak to you about those promises and invite you to reflect on how they might impact your upcoming year. Those promises are ones of courage, of faith, and of love. A few words on courage. 6 staff members at Sandy Hook Elementary School lost their lives to protect their building and their students. 6 women, 6 daughters. Some were mothers, some were sisters, and others were wives. They gave their lives to save our children, and I know that those of you in this room would have done the same thing. That courage should be forever etched in our collective memory. But there are acts of courage at Sandy Hook Elementary School that rarely get discussed and have never made the news. I'm talking about the teachers and the staff members who returned to work in January after the shooting. The ones whose last day of work memory was running from a building, and in a few cases over the bodies of their colleagues. When I asked my son's teacher why she returned to work, she told me, because those are my kids, and my students need me now more than ever. She texted me every day to update me on Isaiah's progress, from his behavior to what he ate for lunch to how many times he used the bathroom. And 4 months later, when my son finally smiled upon returning home from school, and I asked him about it, he said to me, and I'll never forget it, "Mom, my teacher is so funny. I had an epic day." I promised her I wouldn't use her name, otherwise I would use her name. When the community was hurting and when the external support services that were supposed to come save Sandy Hook were not in place, it was the teachers and the school staff that saved our kids. Nobody came to save Sandy Hook the teachers in that school, the staff members in that building saved Sandy Hook. And while you may not ever find yourself in the position of the teachers at Sandy Hook, you will face situations in your building that will lend themselves to you making the decision to be courageous. You will have an Isaiah in your class, in your hallway, in your office, or in your lunchroom. You may even have an Atalanta. Many people don't like to discuss that. But at some point, he was a young, impressionable student who often sat alone. You will have students, families, and even colleagues who will be looking to you to be courageous. You will have students facing seemingly insurmountable odds for whom your smile, your joke, your encouraging word, and your willingness to go the extra mile will provide the comfort and security they need to try again tomorrow. When you look up the definition of hero in the dictionary, when you Google the word, there should be a picture of a principal, a school lunch staff, a custodian, a reading specialist, a teacher, a bus monitor, or someone who works in the front office. Real heroes don't wear capes. They work in America's schools. Being courageous requires faith. I saw the classroom where my daughter and her classmates and teachers were massacred. I needed to see it for myself. It took faith to go back to work after that building lost 6 staff members and 20 children. That school lost its principal, school psychologist, and 4 teachers. That school lost any and every sense of security it ever had. That school lost normal in 4 minutes. Yet that school and those that worked within the building had faith. Faith that although they didn't hold all the answers, they didn't know what would come tomorrow, they would keep going. It is that faith that will allow us to do what we can in the moments we spend with our students to make each day count. Who would have thought last year at our November parent-teacher conferences that all of the plans we had for our February ones would never come to fruition? Not me. Every day, every moment you spend with your students and colleagues counts. Every opportunity we have to create welcoming environments in our schools where parents and students feel connected counts. Having faith in our students, in our colleagues, and in ourselves, because tomorrow is certainly not promised. In Sandy Hook, it took faith on December 14th, and in the weeks and months that followed. But it takes faith everywhere you work. My mom recently retired after 32 years of public school teaching. She taught in Hartford. I grew up watching her incredible example of courage and faith and love. And my mom is the reason why my kids' teachers never got traditional goodie bags like an apple or something like that. My kids' goodie bags for the teachers always had, you know, a Costco-sized bottle of Advil, a gift certificate to Starbucks, a handwritten note of thank you that I would always give in the beginning of the year, not at the end. Because at the end, you guys are ready for summer anyway, it doesn't matter. And sometimes a bottle of Merlot. But you can't be courageous, you can't step out on faith without a deep passion and love for what you do. According to a study by the National Survey of Children's Health, half of American children will have suffered at least one adverse childhood experience. Surviving a child to school when you lost your baby in a shooting out of school. But we sent him because we didn't want him to be afraid. We sent him because we wanted him to grow through the grief. We sent him because we wanted him to understand that while our lives would never be the same, our lives still needed to move forward. And while you might never work with a parent in my unique situation, all of your parents are sending their precious children to you this fall. Some will come fully prepared and some will not. They will come with full bellies and they will come with empty ones. They will come from intact homes and they will come from fractured ones. The parents and caregivers you serve have chosen to send their children to you. They trust you, like I trusted Sandy Hook Elementary School with Isaiah after the shooting. There's a remarkable neuropsychiatrist named Dr. Bruce Perry, who I've been working with since the shooting, and he says, Nelda, we used to live in a culture where there were 4 healthy adults for every 1 child. Now we're lucky if we have 1 adult for 4 children. You have hard work ahead of you. When I asked my son how he wanted to honor his sister's birthday, he said, Mom, can we have a birthday party in my class? Maybe you can come and tell stories about Anna, and then we can have cupcakes. So I called his teacher, and I said, I don't know how to tell you this, but my son wants to celebrate Anna's birthday in your class. And she said, give me a day. On Anna's birthday, Isaiah's classmates led in the honoring of Anna's life. Many of the girls wore beautiful purple dresses. A few of the boys wore sparkly crowns and lavender shirts. We told them stories about Anna. We ate cupcakes, and then we had a We Just Dance party in the cafeteria. That was my daughter's favorite game. The teacher had arranged for the celebration. I didn't have to do anything. I just showed up. They tell me the custodian doesn't usually dance in public. But that day, we all danced. About 40 of us convened in a school cafeteria in honor of a little girl who could no longer dance. And my son, who would no longer live to see a birthday here on earth with his sister, kept her memory alive that day with the support of his teacher, his school, his classmates. I asked him that day again, Isaiah, how was it? It was awesome, Mom. That was epic. Love wins. Never underestimate the power of your love. I've received letters from every state in the nation, every continent in the globe, and of the over 15,000 personal letters we received, only one stays on my nightstand. It's from my high school English teacher. You'll never really know the full impact you'll have on your students and the kids in your building. He says, do you know that on the 14th of each month, a group gathers in prayer on the Classical Magnet Facebook page? When and if you would like a place of respite, I invite you to come stay with me, my wife Leslie, and our family. We have ample room and would eagerly share it with your family. Sharing Christ's peace, Robert Buckley. If you feel so inclined, please join me at sandyhookpromise.org, where we will be working diligently at looking for holistic solutions to reduce gun violence. But as our time together comes to a close, I want to share with you a quote from my daughter. About 3 weeks before her murder, we shared a very special morning. The lunches were packed. It was one of those things that never happens in my house because I'm not that organized. But the lunches were packed, the homework was checked, the clothes were picked out, and it was a good morning. I'm grateful for that gift now, in retrospect. And while I lay back in her bed snuggling with her, because that was her favorite activity to do with me, you know, my beautiful caramel princess, she still sensed that I was a bit distracted. And she asked, Mom, what's the matter? And, it's just work stuff, Anna. And she looked at me, and I'll never forget the look on her face, and she opens her mouth and she says, don't let them suck your fun circuits dry, Mom. guess I encourage you this year to step out on faith, step out on courage, and lead with love. And for sure, don't let them suck your fun circuits dry.